Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 481 of the DrunkNerds podcast. And as always, I'm Tyler. And join me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What is up, buddy?
A lot of things are going on, but at the same time, something always remains the same, and that is I'm playing a damn video game.
And I'm drinking beer. Well, kinda.
Yeah, the work week was fine and stuff. A little craziness happened yesterday in regards to having to call the cops, but at the same time, no one was hurt, nothing got injured and stuff. But apparently, I think somebody got arrested. So I'm more than happy to say that I've earned a new nickname in my workplace because of my ongoing efforts of not only chasing out criminals and literally chasing down criminals and literally taking out just helping kick out thieves and stuff. My boss has given me the nickname of Magnum. Magnum P, short for Magnum PI.
So we're gonna start calling you. I'm gonna start calling you Trojan.
No, we're not gonna call me Trojan. No, fucking dude. I'm no, I'm not Trojan.
Trojan man. Where do those commercials go? You know, bring back 2005.
Jesus Christ, you could not literally go you couldn't even go with a couple hours during the night or something without seeing a fucking Trojan condom commercial, and that's that's saying it lightly, dude. It's like anytime you go into Adult Swim, during the freaking 10 o'clock on or something like that, you get a random advertisement for Trojan Man condom when you're in the middle of watching something like fucking Futurama or Family Guy or some shit.
You fell asleep watching Comedy Central in the middle of the night, then it just keeps replaying the Girls Gone Wild ads over and over again.
Yeah, I've had that happen too, actually.
And then you just wake up to the Girls Gone Wild song and Trojan Man commercials. Yeah, been there. This is a weird way to start the podcast.
Yeah, man, I don't understand how we went down this rabbit hole immediately with condoms and friggin' Girls Gone Wild shit. I mean, this is not 2005. This is 2000.
I mean, you're the one that they call Magnum, so you tell me, Gables.
Well, hell, I can't explain that one, but at the same point, I think having the nickname of No!
All right, fine. I understand. They got to pay for it. Onlyfans.com/Colonel Gables.
No. But anyway, yeah, I have been playing some games throughout this week. I've actually been playing one before we were recording, and the other one was throughout the week. It actually ties into the demo that Stealth released this week. I know you've played it too.
I played that too, yes. Gables is fucking stalking my goddamn Nintendo account. I can see that. I do the same thing to him, but it's whatever.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
In my PlayStation, I was like, what the fuck is this bastard playing? It's like, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, Gables has got 12 hours in Elden Ring. All right, we can look at that. Okay, cool.
It's more than 12 hours, but I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, it's gone up? All right, well.
Yes, it has gone up, but at the same point.
PS5 is really bad at telling time. It's really bad. Somehow I played more hours of Horizon than what the PS5 said I played. So, or sometimes they'll say I played 600 hours of this game. I'm like, I played it for 2 weeks. I don't think
600 hours for 2 weeks. I mean, I don't think that's physically possible. But still.
I don't think. Unless I think I can just leave it on and walk away and never turn it off, and I still don't think that's possible. I could be wrong, but I'm not. There's 100 and some odd hours a week. That doesn't work. But anyways, we are. That's for later. That's far from now.
How are you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing okay, Gables. I got my fancy smancy for video watchers here on YouTube. My silver medal for Extra Life for 2021, hitting that $500 mark. Got that in the mail yesterday.
Nice.
So that was a cool surprise. Yeah, so that was nice. Well, not surprise. I knew it was coming, but it was nice that it showed up. I was getting a little nervous because I saw people getting theirs a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Where's mine at?" But I got that, so now I got that with my 3 medals. You can see I have the 2 golds for YouTube. I got that one right there.
Oh yeah,
and then that one over there, and then I got another one that's on my other shelf where all my amiibos are, on the other side. So I got that now to add. I'm running out of. I've run out of shelf space if you can't tell, and that's not even the worst. The amiibo one's even worse. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm doing okay though. Long week. I've been watching the Scream movies this week, Gables.
Just randomly, you just had a craving to watch the Scream movies?
Scream 5, I was telling myself a while back to watch them because Scream 5 was coming out. And I'm like, I used to really like the Scream movies when I was a kid, because they came out late 90s. So like the trilogy, I actually kind of like enjoy. I watched Scream 1 all the time.
Yeah.
And then 2 and 3,
yeah.
I remember watching a handful of times. Like whenever I pop them on the TV, I watch them every now and again. And like, I'm like, they're all. I have Paramount Plus because I forgot to cancel my account because they had like a free 30-day thing, as you do.
Oh,
So you
okay.
get another month of it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, they're all on there. So I'll watch all 4 of them on there. I've only ever seen the fourth one once. Gables are bad. They're real bad. I watched 1, 2, and 3. One's okay. Like but it's like I understand I'm watching it and like it's 25 years later. So you're like, it's kind of like you're watching it and like I'm watching as 32-year-old Tyler, not 8-year-old Tyler, 9-year-old.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's like with horror films and stuff. Some of the best ones, it's like you can watch regardless of age and stuff, and it's still good.
Yeah. So like I wonder, like I think if like I watched Scream 1, like if I was a 22-year-old or something like that, or like like 15 or teenager or whatever, I'm like, this is trash. But like back then that was fucking nuts. That was a game changing movie. But yeah, like so I'm watching it. It's like Space Jam. I recognize it's not actually a good movie, but I love Space Jam. So that's how things work. But it was okay. 2 and 3 terrible. I'm like an hour in the 4. I was watching that before we hopped on here.
Wait. I'm trying to remember Scream 4. Did it have something to do with the fucking rapper? I don't know.
I think are you thinking of Halloween Resurrection?
I think I am, and I think I think I'm thinking of Halloween Resurrection. And I think
was that.
I think either you showed me a bit of footage from that.
He roundhouse kicks fucking Michael Myers. Who was that? Was that was that one of the guys in the Wu-Tang Clan?
I think that was either Redman or Method Man. I don't know what.
I'm gonna Google it. I'm Googling it.
Oh my god. Well, listeners, while Tyler's going through and searching who did that roundhouse kick to Michael Myers in Halloween Resurrection, I'll just tell you a little bit of the backstory where it's like, sometimes Colonel Gables has little flashbacks of just random shit. And it sounds like, to me, Tyler has found exactly what's going on. Okay, what's going on?
It's fucking Busta Rhymes. I don't know why that's funnier to me, but it's funnier. Oh God, that movie was actually entertaining, but it was not a good movie at all. God damn, that movie.
That's right. In that movie, Busta Rhymes in a roundhouse kicked Michael Myers out of a window.
God, that movie was so terrible. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like some of those old school movies, like they hold up, but like like the whole original, like the early like Halloweens and like even like the early like Freddy movies and stuff like that. Maybe not the Freddy movies, but like the Jason movies hold up. And it's like you watch them and you're like as you get older, and it's like especially once they get like past like 3 or 4, and it's like Freddy gets sucked to a video game at one point.
Oh yeah,
he's like in a mental
aspect of what? Oh God, I think it was Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I think that was. I think it was like there was a band by the name of Dawkins back in the day, an obscure rock band, right? That has this song called Dream Warriors, and the only reason why I know that is because that song was actually pretty fun to listen to a couple of years ago when I found it randomly on YouTube. It's like, God dang, okay. And I think it was like there was something to do with a video game stuff like that. Where one of the kids or something like a dream that he was in a it was in a video game and stuff, and that was part of it or some shit.
It was it was bad. It's bad. It's so they get bad, Yeah. So, anyways, they're really terrible. The Scream movies are to go full circle. God damn, I can't talk now. On those, I'm like, I was like, are they always bad, or are they just bad because I'm older now?
They're campy movies.
It's just like so like I'm fine with camp. I could deal with camp, but it's just like obnoxiously like we know we're camp, but when instead of like we're gonna be over the top cheesy camp, we're gonna tell you that we're being camp about it, and I don't like that. But some other fun news here, Gables.
Yeah.
I got Gables already knows. I found here for audio listeners here, or for video listeners here rather. I have Mountain Dew Hard. Or hard Mountain Dew, as the kids call it. It is alcohol Mountain Dew. I already had a couple of. I bought the 12-pack that comes with like it's like the mix pack. It comes with like watermelon. There's a red one here I haven't had yet. It's It's called Black Cherry. Ooh, I might like the Black Cherry one. Black Cherry is my favorite White Claw. But I had the Baja Blast. That's the one I really wanted to try, and it's fantastic.
Oh.
I had the watermelon one. Gables got to witness me drink that one. And it was offensive to all 5 senses.
And you're pretty sure it's probably killed some brain cells as well as some sperm cells as a result of drinking it.
It's fine. The only place the sperm goes is on my stomach, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, oh no one wants to hear that.
Well, too bad. You're going to see it here in a minute.
No.
Anyways, Gil was like, what have I got myself into here? But yeah, no. Anyways, this is the DrunkNerds podcast. If you're enjoying this banter, if you're still here, why? But if you're still here, please go follow us on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, all that fun jazz, share, iTunes, Spotify, Google, wherever pods are cast, we're on it. Please go there and support us in all those places. If you look in the show notes, I put a link to our link tree. And what that does is it's a link to everywhere we are available at, like Facebook, Twitter, our actual like pages and stuff like that. So I've signed back up for 2022. It's my 11th year. And Gables, have you signed up yet?
Oh, I still need to sign up for Extra Life stuff.
Okay. When you do, let me know, and I'll make a link. I'll put a link. The link in there is probably dead then. Yeah, so please go there and do all those things for us. We really would appreciate it. But Gables, it's very rare that we have like a topic of the show. Typically, we just kind of talk about the news and where we're coming out. But if you want like a full deep dive into our thoughts about the Pokemon stuff from last Sunday, Gables and I did like an emergency 20-minute podcast.
Yes, we
kind of
did.
going over everything that happened, kind of nerded out about Pokemon Gen 9, Scarlet and Violet being announced. And after the show, we kind of bullshitted for another 15, 20 minutes about how and Gables, you've touched upon it a few times already. How is this going to be better than 2017? And we've kind of we've kind of brushed around it a little bit.
Yes, we have.
And you and I I was saying, like, one of these weeks, here soon, we're gonna have to we really need to sit down and talk about this. And that's what we're doing this week, Gables. We're gonna sit down and talk about it. So
right.
Let me pull up here. I got my handy dandy phone here with our show notes on it. So Gables, I thought we can kind of look and compare what 2017 looked like and what 2022 is looking like so far.
Okay.
So to kind of look at this year so far and the future, for what we know of right now, Pokemon Legends was January 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Triangle Strategy that came out Friday.
Yeah.
Kirby and the Forgotten Lands comes out March 25th.
Yeah.
Advance Wars comes out April 8th. Switch Sports April 29th. Mario Strikers June 10th. Fire Emblem Warriors June 24th. Splatoon 3 is in the summer. Xenoblade 3 in the September. Bayonetta 3. Breath of the Wild 2. Mario plus Rabbids. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are also scheduled for this year. Now, if we look at 2017, we're gonna see a lot of correlations between 2022 and 2017 as well here.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Oh, god damn it. Someone had a pop up and it fucked up my shit. All right, we're back now. 2017 Nintendo games. We had the launch with Breath of the Wild, and we had 1-2 Switch, and then we also had Snipper Clips. I'm gonna delete 1-2 Switch because it pisses me off that's there. I typed it in there just because I figured I just put all exclusive games that were either published by Nintendo or directly made by them. But that should be a demerit there. Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I put in there even though I took out ports because Pokken Tournament and stuff and a couple other games that were ports that came out that year. But I figured I put Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in there just because how big it's been. I don't know if it's a fair.
It makes sense.
To count it.
It may not be fair in some sense, but at the same point, that's been the Switch's main selling.
Yeah, it's the number one game.
It's the number one game, despite it being on 2 console cycles here, with one the Wii U and now the Switch. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe getting its whole slew of DLC, so it's going to be the definitive version of Mario Kart 8, and rightfully so. And
even more correlation here, we got. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out in 2017. We're getting Mario Kart DLC in 2022 for it. We also had ARMS. For some reason, I typed in ARMS twice. Fire Emblem Warriors, Mario plus Rabbids, and like I said earlier, Snipper Clips. So yeah. Right now we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pretty big games in 2017. Then right now we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games this year. potentially not including the Mario Kart 8 DLC. So I mean, I don't know how we want to tackle this, how we want to discuss this, Gables, but could this possibly be the best year ever for Nintendo Switch, or just for Nintendo and games?
Okay, so for Nintendo, this has the definite possibility of it being one of its peak years, if not the peak year of the console's life cycle. Similar in terms of when when that was still going through a lot of its phase and stuff, a lot of its popularity. The peak year, I think, in my honest opinion, for the Nintendo Wii happened around that 2008-2009 period when it had games like Mario Kart Wii, had Smash Brothers Brawl, had like Mario. Well, actually, Mario Galaxy had already came out in 2007.
2007, yeah.
But 2009 was Mario Galaxy 2. But that feel and that whole lead up to that crescendo of that 2008, that was a pretty big kind of deal and stuff. But in terms
we're getting
of
those like once a month though. Like we're talking about these 2 years we're looking at. I mean, just kind of going back to it here. As I pull it back up, sorry. We had Breath of the Wild in March. We had Mario Odyssey in October.
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 was in July. Xenoblade Chronicles was in May. Mario Kart 8 was April. ARMS was June. 1-2 Switch was launch. Fire Emblem Warriors. Was Fire Emblem Warriors a Wii U game?
Fire Emblem Warriors was not a Wii U game, in my honest opinion.
But it
was 3DS, but it was not Wii U.
Okay. That was like, I think, one of August. No. When did Fire Emblem Warriors come out? Maybe that was like September. And then Mario plus Rabbids was August. Because I remember that came out right before Labor Day.
Yep.
And I literally spent my entire Labor Day weekend playing that game. That was a good weekend. And we're looking at, like, right now, like, kind of, looking at, we had Pokemon Legends in January. February, we didn't have anything, but Triangle Strategy and Kirby in March. Advance Wars and Switch Sports in April. Nothing in May right now, but we have Mario Strikers and Fire Emblem Warriors in June. Then the summer, we have Splatoon 3. September, we have Xenoblade, and then like Bayonetta, Breath of the Wild 2, Mario plus Rabbids. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are not dated, but we're looking at Breath of the Wild, and if Breath of the Wild does hit, that's gonna be end of the year. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet probably like a November game as well. So it's just like like you're talking about like those peak years where we had I think like 2008 we had Mario Kart Wii and Smash Brothers Brawl come out within like 3 months of each other, which is nuts to think about nowadays. Like that would just never happen. Those games would be, 18 months apart, if not more. Well, I guess that's not true because
6 months sometimes.
Yeah, like the Wii U ones were like 6 months apart because they came out the same year. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like all these games will hit the heights of like a Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey did individually, but it's kind of like where you look at like, it's a quantity over quality. Where like a lot of these games are going to be quality games, but aren't even going to be. Two of the best games from 2017, two of the best games of all time. Like these are probably a lot of people's like top. People have been gaming for a long time, how to make a top 25 list, or even like say top 15 list. Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild got to be in there. Like you make a top 25 list of most like biggest Nintendo games ever. I feel like Breath of the Wild's probably got to be like top 2, 3 behind maybe the original Mario Brothers, and Mario 64. And then like Mario Odyssey's got to be somewhere in that top 15-ish level. So I don't think anything like that will hit this year unless Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. And I think that's the big if in this discussion is if Breath of the Wild 2, what the fuck it's going to be called, I'm just going to call it Breath of the Wild 2 until we get a name. If it's in this list, I feel like it's a definitive 2022, assuming all these games just hit what our expectations are. Like no one's a big disappointment. If they just hit what we expect, like by far, no chance. Like this is the best year ever for Nintendo, just from a sheer volume of quality games. And if assuming Breath of the Wild 2 is as good as we think it could be, or just even on the level of 1. But if we take it out, is it? Like, I think that's the real argument here. If, like, say Breath of the Wild 2 is push 2023, which I think is more than likely going to happen, is that we don't get that this year. But I mean, I don't know, Gables. Like you're the big Nintendo guy. You're a bigger Nintendo guy than me, for sure. But I mean, what do you when you think of this, when you look at these lists, what are you thinking?
What I'm thinking of the lists going on in regards to Nintendo in this scope and scale is like it does have potential to be one of the Switch's best years ever. Definitely in terms of not only the quantity of what is coming out, but also the type of games and the momentum they are representing towards the crescendoing from the beginning all the way until at least the summer. We don't know the entirety of everything that's coming out towards like, from like September on, besides maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and we really didn't get too many in terms of like August type of releases in that regards, which people are suspecting that July, August may be a potential release date for Splatoon 3, but that's guessing upon it. But it really depends upon what Nintendo does with Breath of the Wild 2, what's showcased from that game, what it does in terms of elaborating itself and evolving itself over like from the original, because obviously they're building up from the basis of the original and the intent and feel of that into something else. But there definitely is multiple different points of reference to feel that they will try to release this game this year. They've gone through, I know Nintendo has stated in a couple of different types of like meetings, different kind of like investor calls that yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 will come out in 2022. Whether they do or not remains to be seen. But if this game comes out and it's absolutely fantastic, probably one of the best games ever released on the Switch, on top of everything else going on here, like let's say games like Scarlet and Violet are fantastic, like some of the best Pokemon games. I mean, we've saw the basic crux of Pokemon Legends Arceus and how everybody loved, like most of the people who've played that game absolutely love it because it's refreshing in terms of how it's refocused and revitalized a lot of people's joy in playing Pokemon games with the initial intent of going through and capturing creatures and this and that. But on top of that, on top of games like Triangle Strategy, games like, the potential like Mario Strikers, like Battle League stuff, which hopefully that's going to be fantastic as well. But if we get banger after banger after banger, just like months, like over the next like 4 or 5 months and stuff like that, leading up to a crescendo moment to where we have Breath of the Wild 2 releasing in like in October or November, that, in my honest opinion, will be Nintendo's best year in regards to the Nintendo Switch. However, how I could see that not being the case is if either one, Breath of the Wild 2 or the Pokemon games, get delayed till 2023. For that, even if they take out both of those games, they'll still have a fantastic year this year for 2022. I mean, hell, let's just say that most of these games release, except for those two franchises, Pokemon and freaking Zelda, and you still have aspects to where Bayonetta 3, that releases this year. You still have, like, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and, like, all the hype and all the built up in the regards to how that game looks. But at the same time, in order for this not to be Nintendo's most productive year for the Switch, means multiple different things have to happen. One, like I've said before, Pokemon and Zelda not releasing or like just getting delayed to 2023. Another thing is that they may have like one or two type of games or something that just don't perform as great, which I'm hoping is not the case. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of positives in regards to game releases in the next 6 to 8 months for Nintendo. But going back to the whole initial point that we've had in the comparisons between 2017 and 2022, I know it expands past Nintendo stuff, but what I meant in terms of that scenario is the feel of it. The feel towards the beginning of 2017 was, okay, we got a couple of different games, blah, blah, blah. And then we start to realize, looking at the release schedule for like a couple months like ahead of it, it's like, wow, these 3 big games release in this one day. And I'm referring
October
to
27th.
October 27th, when you had Assassin's Creed Origins, when you had Mario Odyssey, and then you had like another game,
Wolfenstein 2.
Wolfenstein 2. Yeah, those three big releases were on that one day in October back in 2017. I don't think we've had that type of day happen yet in this year, but the feel and the quality of games from the beginning of that year going all the way and reaching through where we basically had a hangover the next year in 2018.
Well, 2018 was, I mean, arguably just as good. We had,
Yeah.
Well, if you are we looking at strictly Nintendo here?
No, we're not looking at strictly Nintendo. We're just expanding the games.
We had Odyssey, we had God of War, we had Celeste, we had Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, was it as deep as 2017? No, but I would argue the top was just as maybe on par, just as good. If you look at like, because a lot of people, you know, this obviously God of War is my favorite game of all time, but you know, a lot of people, to a lot of people that is as well. So like God of War and like Breath of the Wild are kind of like equal footing there. But yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, 2017 was such a deep year. Like we could have done it. I made a top 20 list for my personal list that year, and I was still cutting off good quality games off that top 20 list. Where most years, some years it's been a struggle to make a top 15 list of like good quality games. So yeah, like I agree with you on that, like how deep it was. And I think that's a big difference. Where I feel like this year will be deeper, I think, than 2017. But like the peak though, because like, so the games that at least have like a time period, like, you know, like Splatoon 3 is summer, excuse me, Xenoblade 3 is September, but you know, like Bayonetta 3, Breath of the Wild, Mario plus Rabbids, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are not dated. Like if you just took out those bottom four, we're talking about Pokemon Legends, Triangle Strategy, Kirby, Advance Wars, Switch Sports, Mario Strikers, Fire Emblem Warriors, Splatoon 3, Xenoblade 3. That's a very good year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good. We have a lot of B plus, you know, B tier. If we're gonna count S tier here, you know, like Zelda's S tier, Mario's S tier, Mario Kart, Smash Bros. S tier.
I would actually argue with like even barring those like four you just mentioned in regards to if you took those four away. I mean, that's better than some Switch years that we've had.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you look at the last 2 years, where like, I mean, 2020 was a great year strictly because of Animal Crossing, but like you take away Animal Crossing, I mean, there was nothing there.
That's true.
2021 was like, I mean, we talked about like 2021. We had Pokemon BDSM. What else?
There was a lot of middle tier, like almost kind of like sevens, eights, a C tier type of things. I mean, Mario. I can even remember a couple of them, like the Mario Golf was definitely a middle tier type of game.
Like that was a disappointment. Yeah. You're right. And like 2018, well, we had Mario Tennis, I think. Maybe that's 2018. No, it's 2018.
Yeah, and even with Pokemon like Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, even I recognize, you know, even though those games were technically good and stuff, those were middle tier in regards to a remaster.
That was a port of That was not like that was even for, you know, we get a lot of remakes for Pokemon games. That was a pretty subpar one from them. Yeah. I mean, you look at it like Pokemon. I mean, if you think about it, like, unless Kirby blows us away. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put Splatoon 3. Splatoon is not B tier, but it doesn't have the longevity to be S tier. So it's probably, I'd say it's A tier, possibly. Just based off of how great it's Splatoon, especially Splatoon 2. But like, there's a big audience there that loves it. Especially in Japan. It's in Japan. It's probably an S tier. I'd say worldwide though, it's probably A tier. But you know, like, yeah, I don't know, like. Pokemon Legends, Triangle Strategy. I mean, we're looking at a lot of like 7s and 8s here, and then like maybe with Splatoon 3 will be in Xenoblade will be high 8s, low 9s. Mario Strikers and Switch Sports are are big question marks. Like I don't know. I feel like those games are gonna come out and initially have good buzz around them, and I feel like it'll be like I can also see it. I think they're gonna come out. They're gonna be good quality, fun games, because that Mario can shit out a fun game like nobody else can. The problem always is like content and then wanting to go back to it. And that's gonna be like 2 weeks after they launch. Do we care? Kind of thing. Fire Emblem Warriors I feel like it's Fire Emblem Warriors. People that love it are gonna love it.
Game, yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like an exact niche. Some people are gonna love it, some people are not going to.
Yeah. Pokemon Legends for the most part is been pretty positive.
Yes.
Triangle Strategies, people have been so far. Early reviews have been pretty positive.
Yes.
Kirby, we've heard some demo stuff so far. Previews, people have been fairly positive, I'd say.
Yeah.
Advance Wars is a remake. Xenoblade 3, I imagine, will just be as good, if not better, than the previous Xenoblade games. Bayonetta 3, question mark, because game's been in development for so long, and we've kind of heard some stuff about them trying to make it more of an open world, and that just kind of didn't happen. So curious how it's gonna work out. Pokemon Scarlet Violet, like we were super excited last week, but like, is this just gonna be more like a build on Sword and Shield, or are we building off of Pokemon Legends?
Because I feel like a mix between the two, personally.
I do, but if we actually see gameplay, like I was super excited last week coming off the high of it right afterwards, but kind of like what we were watching and think about a little bit, I'm like, well, we didn't see any battling, we didn't see catching the Pokemon. Like if it comes out and it's just we go back to the vanilla style of Pokemon catching and battling that we've seen for the last 8 generations, that's gonna be a big bummer. Like I want to see the Arceus gameplay because I love that, like how quick and smooth all that was, just catching Pokemon, how fast that was, and it made me want to grind.
I understand that in regards. Yes, that would be disappointing if it's going back to like the straight things that we've already know in terms of battling, in terms of like catching Pokemon, this and that. But even reading on the Pokemon's website and stuff, this is an open world Pokemon game.
Yeah, but right? I mean, like how like Pokemon Arceus is they call open world, but it was really just different sections,
segment areas that you could explore in. It wasn't technically say open world,
but they refer to it as open world.
Yeah.
So I mean, like how fast and loose are they being with open world? And then more importantly, even if it's not open world, like I just want like that gameplay because it was so quick and fluid. It made me want to just like catching Pokemon was just fun to do. Like I got stuck in that loop for several hours, just going around and just like catching Pokemon that I didn't even need to catch, but just grind for experience, or like just having fun going around battling Pokemon. Like it was because like the battle would take you seconds, and then also like the turn, like with the like based on like the speed actually really mattered, and it was actually fairly difficult. Like I want that. And if it goes back to what we've known from them, it's just like they built upon the wild area of Sword and Shield. That'd be kind of disappointing. I mean, I'll be more excited than I was with like I enjoyed Sword and Shield, but like I like that wild area was fine. So like if they build upon it and make it work, like I'll be more excited than I would be like if they just did another gen. But like I don't know. Anyways, but like kind of looking at 2017 here, Breath of the Wild, obviously one of the greatest games of all time. Mario Odyssey up there too. Splatoon 2 came out. People love Splatoon. Did really well, sold really well. People are still playing it to this day. Looking at you, Gables. I'm not literally looking at you right now. I'm looking at my phone. But figuratively, I'm looking at you right now. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Obviously, people really like that one. Mario Kart Deluxe. We've been talking about that game for 5 years now. ARMS. That's kind of a good look. I'm looking at like that, like the Mario Strikers and Switch Sports, where like when that came out, like we were raving about it. I remember Justin coming over that weekend because it came out like the Friday before E3 or something, or that week of E3 or whatever. We just like him and I like playing that co-op together, or versus, but like in the same room, and having a fucking blast talking about it. It was a great fucking time. But like after like a couple weeks, it was like I did the arcade. I beat the arcade mode, like the first like the 7 or 8 levels it was. I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of done. I unlocked there was only one fighter to unlock, and I'm like, all right, well, I did everything there is to do in this game. 1-2 Switch, fuck that game. Fire Emblem Warriors, like I even bought that one because I liked Hyrule Warriors so much. And I mean, it's a Muso game. And I mean, there's one, if you're a fan of the series, you'll like that. Mario Plus Rabbids is my probably still my favorite Switch game, honestly, to this day. It was my number 2 game of that year, only behind Horizon Zero Dawn. We're seeing a lot of correlations between 2017 and 2022 here. and then Super Clips, which was actually a pretty fun little game. I remember like just it was like a $10 launch game on the Switch, and it was actually a decent fun little game there. So I don't know. I mean, I think maybe like I'd like to do this like if we can revisit it like next year at this time.
Okay.
Give us some separation in 2023, which is crazy to think when I say that. But
it'll come around sooner than we think.
we got some other news here. I don't know, like not major this week going on, but a couple smaller things. So apparently here we have a new Infamous and Sly Cooper reportedly in development for PS5. This comes from a leaker that has leaked a few things in the past. Insider ACC and GT apparently is his name. Says like while many like this is from Dual Shockers here. So while many might not be aware, the leaker is. It should be noted that they have quite a credible track record. The leaker revealed details about Star Wars Eclipse several days, which is the Quantic Dream one, which we'll talk about here a little later. So he's done this in the past. A few other things he's talked about as well. So no idea who's making these. That apparently they're in the works, Gables. So I mean, I don't know, like is there any excitement here for the possibility of bringing back Sly and Infamous?
There is some bits of excitement. I mean, granted, it has been like around 7 or 8 years since the last main titles for either one of those games. I mean, I'm especially looking at Infamous because Infamous First Son and like Second Light, I remember those games being early PS4 games. And the thing was, it's like, it was a good introductory point for people to get into Infamous and stuff. It wasn't as memorable as the PS3 games, the first and the second, which in my honest opinion are the better ones. Especially the second one with New Moray and stuff. But there is excitement getting back to basics in like the original Infamous, or possibly in terms of Sly Cooper. I mean, Sly Cooper, when it was on the PS2 originally, that franchise was highly popular. It was quintessentially during that time period and stuff on the PS2 where you had like platformer mascots like a Sly Cooper, like a Jak and Daxter, like Ratchet and Clank. I mean, that was literally like the mid-2000s in regards to 3D platforming because, well, Nintendo really wasn't doing much in that regards other than Mario Sunshine. But in regards to that, I'm curious to see if not only if these rumors are true, but how and what direction of, one, which developers are actually going through, which Sony studios are actually going through and making these games. Two, are they going to do like a reboot for both of these series? Because that would make more sense to me, especially if they want to go back to more of a classic thing for like Infamous and have Cole McGrath, because he was a lot more interesting in terms of a character and in terms of things that he was other than like the protagonist they had for First Light. Plus, I would love it if they went back to like a comic book style. I mean, hell, some of the best fun elements I ever had, like playing the Infamous games, was getting a bunch of the dead drops, getting a bunch of the random like moves and stuff, like freeing a bunch of different territories and stuff like that from like enemy gangs and stuff, and then like facing off against crazy ass bosses and stuff like with Kessler and like freaking stuff like that, and even like racing against that monster in the second game. You know, try to get things all freed off and stuff before, like, you know, all that initial stuff. But at the same time, it's like for the Sly Cooper games, the reason why they haven't really gone on since Thieves in Time, you know, it's like that game did okay, but at the same time, it wasn't really up to the standard as like the original trilogy, and that was one of the main issues that people have had with that game. As far as like, say, in modern 2022, yeah, there's definitely excitement to see like a new Sly Cooper game, especially if they reboot it from its entirety. It's like the same thing I touched upon with Infamous. It's like, if you do a reboot and like a reshuffling of what makes a Sly Cooper game a Sly Cooper game, hardcore PlayStation fans are gonna eat this thing up, and new gamers that are come into that series fresh are gonna be, hey, this is pretty cool. You have this different type of stealth element in terms of this platformer and stuff. You got these memorable characters, and so like with Murray and like oh god, what the fuck's that name of that turtle? Bentley. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, Bentley and Murray and stuff like that, and their all interactions and stuff, and you can retain like the original that's the voice actors too. But the main thing about those platformers were indulged with stealth in terms of like animal bosses, in terms of like making sure that we're getting all the pages in the Thievius Raccoonus and stuff like that. That's part of the original game and whatever the hell. But both of these are classic PlayStation franchises that have laid dormant for far too long, in my opinion. And I would absolutely love it if not only these were brought back, but they were given a new flair on the PS5. Because that's just the thing. It's like Sony has all these different types of properties, all these different types of IPs that they could delve back, and they choose not to because of either legal reasons or whatever, or not just having that right idea at the right time. But I'm hoping it's true.
Yeah. I'm hoping, like, I kind of missed the boat on, like, the Infamous games because, like, I didn't have a PS3 very long. Like, I remember I had it. I bought one like when the Slim came out, and I played like Metal Gear Solid, and it was like right around I think Uncharted, like right after Uncharted 2 came out. I played like Metal Gear Solid 4, Uncharted games, and then I ended up like just giving it to my sister.
Oh, okay.
My console, and then I borrowed it a couple times to play like Last of Us and Uncharted 3. So I kind of missed a good chunk. Like I played like like I said, like the Naughty Dog games and the Metal Gear Solid 4.
Well, yeah,
and then a couple other games too. But like that was like the main thing I jumped into. Yeah, so I kind of missed the infamous games. And Sly, like, I was never like a big like platformer guy back in the that PS. That was kind of like when I fell off, like PS2 era. Like I didn't really play any, and I've kind of like obviously delved back in as I've gotten like back more into like Nintendo in the last like 8-9 years, and I like playing like I totally missed out on Ratchet when that came out. So like I missed out on Sly, missed out on Infamous. I played Infamous Second Son because obviously if you had a PS4 at launch, you played Infamous Second Son, and I thought it was a very fun game. I actually like 100%ed it. I did it well. I did everything you could like, and I didn't like do the platinum. That was the only thing I didn't do because you had to beat the game twice to do that. But like I 100%ed it otherwise, and I had a good time with it. I liked it. It wasn't like it was fun enough to me like I want to keep playing it, but it wasn't like this amazing game. Like 2014 wasn't even like that great of a year and didn't make my top 10 list.
That was that first major release year for the PS4 and Xbox One. There weren't that many great games that released that year besides
and that. Even third party.
Even like third party like Shadows of like freaking not Shadows of Mordor, wasn't it? No.
It was I think it was something of Mordor. Yeah, I can't remember. But that was like a lot of people's like game of the year that year was the Mordor game.
Yeah, and even that game definitely one of them.
Yeah, and I played it and I just didn't. It was fine.
Yeah, it was Shadow of Mordor.
Was it Shadow? Was it? I can't remember what the sequel was called. I always mix them up. Yeah, like it was a good game. But like I hear people that played it, that like the original Infamous games and loved it. I love Cole. I never played the First Light, but I heard people really liked that one. But yeah, like I if they do make them, I kind of hope we get like some remasters at least. If they're building a brand new one, I hope we get like a remaster first.
Yes.
Of the 1 and 2, because I would definitely like to check out those games.
Oh yeah, the possibilities with that type of shit, especially with the smooth 60 frames per second, that smooth transition, like actual into a 4K type of setting, the performance and everything else worked out in modern settings. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe if anything, maybe we'll get a remake if this PlayStation Spartacus stuff is true. Like, you can play it on there. So I imagine maybe if we instead of remasters, we'll probably get remakes at this point, because it'd be kind of weird to remaster games that are on your Spartacus service. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. I think it'd be cool though. Like, I definitely think but it's also like they're already making Spider-Man games. They're already making a Wolverine game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how like. I understand like you own the IP, so you don't have to pay the shit ton of money in licensing fees, but it's like as we're getting better actual like name brand, like big branded Marvel and DC games, like is there a world for these like outsider kind of thing? I know like there's definitely like TV shows that are doing well, like Invincible is a fantastic show on Prime Video, on Amazon Prime. The Boys is a great show, but those are comics. So like, how is that going to work? But I don't know. Like, I definitely want to see it. I'd like to play it because like those, like I've always wanted to like go back and play those games. But I just don't want to stream them on PS Now, which kind of goes back to it's like. So hopefully with Spartacus they fix that problem. But yeah, we'll have to we'll have to wait and see because I would definitely like to check them out. But Gables, moving on here to our like last real topic here. Quantic. Well, this is I don't know. This might just go in the other news part because I don't have too much to say on it. But Quantic Dreams, which people that made like Detroit Become Human, and I totally just blanked the other games. They're Heavy Rain.
Well, Heavy Rain, yes.
And what's that other game with Ellen Page?
Oh, Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond Two Souls. I remember beat that game in a day because I rented it from Redbox. Very bad game. But anyways, we kind of talked about it leaked right before that. This is that Star Wars Eclipse game I was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So they announced it at the Game Awards back in December. But it already kind of leaked a couple months before that. Or a couple weeks before that, maybe. I don't remember. But anyways, apparently, so that game, when they announced it, that game was years away.
Yes.
Like we're talking middle to the end of the generation. Now, because they can't get anybody to come work for them, this might be a 2027 to 2028 game. Gables.
Oh,
Gables.
No.
We will be nearly 40 years old when this game comes out.
Jesus Christ! At this point, I think this is gonna be a canceled thing, dude.
Well, they I don't know if they can really cancel it because they have a contract with Disney about this one. But I mean,
oh my God!
Obviously, there's all the lawsuits going on where like they were just being awful and horrible to employees there, especially females.
Yeah.
Posting out like memes of like the other females there, or like sending out some pretty awful pictures of them, harassing them. Just Ubisoft levels of bullshit. That came out. They got sued for it. That was a year or so, a year and a half ago. And we're in this time, even though I think they're from France or something, like they're in Europe somewhere. But we're in this period now where people, like companies, are trying to get people to come work for them. It's not the other way around. People are trying to find jobs. There's this isn't like 2008 where people are, like we have to give them our credit scores to get a job.
Companies are literally trying to convince people to work for them.
Yeah, and like especially in the video game world, it's always been, people are always fighting to get other people there to come work for them, and now it's worse than ever. And we're hearing the same thing about Ubisoft, where internally and even in Activision, where a lot of people are leaving to go, especially with Ubisoft, like a lot of the couple of their big studios are based in Canada, where Canada's blowing up in the video game world right now, and there's a lot more studios, stuff like that. So a lot of people are leaving them to go work for other studios. And probably the same thing in Europe. There's several different studios out there to go work for, and people are leaving or they're not going to go work for them. Even it's just not worth it. So it's like in this time we're in now, where it's like you gotta be. You can't have this shit on you. You gotta treat your customers. You gotta treat your employees well. You can't, like people are like, even if unless you pay an amazing value compared to where everybody else is paying, people aren't gonna come work for you. And I've talked about this previously, where people we hear a lot of people asking, why are they announcing these games so early when they're 4 or 5 years away? But it's like they announce these games because this is like an advertisement for people to come work for them. That's why. That's true. The Avatar video game was announced so far ahead, or like Elder Scrolls, or I don't know, you name it. Like all these games that get announced 3, 4, 5 years before they're like Mass Effect. Like these games aren't even really in development yet, and they're announcing these games being made. And it's to get people to come work for these big IPs that they probably either love or grew up loving, or that like whatever. And I don't know, but it's like if you are like. Just recently, and the people are David Cage and those people that were awful still work there. It's like, why would I go work for you?
Exactly. Why would you?
Yeah, like it's if my job was that bad, I'd be like, fuck off. I'm gonna go somewhere else, and I can get you're not paying me an absorbent amount of money to stay here, and I can go work somewhere else and make comparable, or if not close to, money. So, I don't. I don't know what to say besides that. It's like just be nice people. Don't be, don't treat people like shit just because you can. But a couple other smaller news here. Resident Evil, we're having Resident Evil 2, 3, and 7 are all coming to next gen. They're getting next gen upgrades. Sometime this year. They haven't given us a date or a time frame, but they said in 2022, all 3 of those games will have upgrades. It will be free to people that already own them. I don't know if
looking forward to that.
Yeah, so like I own 2 and 7 digitally. I don't own
2,
3,
3,
but
and
I
7.
beat 3.
I think I do. I know that the third one I have digital only, but
Okay.
like with any other games, it gets buried underneath the stuff I like to play.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to replay these games, but if they have the free upgrade when you get the trophies, I'll definitely install them and play them. Or I'll boot them up, just get the trophies. But honestly, of all the games I want to replay of those, I'll really want to play 3 again because that was like...
I've heard that the third one is easily replayable.
Yeah, it's built to be played, obviously. Like Resident Evil games are built to be replayed over and over again, but I thought 3 was most fun to play through of all of them. Like I think it's my least... I don't want to say that, but it's definitely like I don't think it's 2's the best one of the 3, but I think 3 is the most fun to play again. Also, Guardians of the Galaxy is coming to Game Pass, I believe next week.
That's good for the Xbox players, Just if you have Game Pass and you have not experienced that game, you couldn't afford it last year, or it was not on your list of immediate things to play. Now you have a chance to go for it, download it, and play a game that, honestly, that was my game of the year last year, and for good reason. Yeah. It's because it's a fantastic experience. It's a great action RPG, and quite honestly, it's like there's a lot of funny, memorable moments that I went through, and quite honestly, during Extra Life, this game was the reason why I spent like 15 hours playing this game alone in a 24-hour stream, and like a 24-hour time period, and that was why. It's because the quality of the game was above and beyond what I expected, and on top of that, it was raising money for kids.
Yes. So it's a win-win. I already played like a good chunk of it beforehand, but like I ended up beating it during Extra Life. I think I put like a good 4 or 5 hours into that game and ended up beating it on Extra Life Day. So that was that game is incredible. It was my number 2 game of the year. So it was our overall game of the year for 2021. But it seems like it's like word of mouth has done a lot for that game.
Yes.
And they've slashed the price down too. So it seems like initially it was disappointing, but it seems like it's getting there. So hopefully it does good enough that we get a sequel, because I would love to play another one of these games.
Oh yeah.
But moving on, Gables, to some other news here. Well, not really news. An update on our Fantasy Critic update. Gables, you're a cunt still. And I'm not because you're a fucking asshole and you outbid me on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Gables got that. We both bid on it.
How much did you bid on it, Tyler?
$16, because I was like, he's
16.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna Price is Right you, and he donated 20.
Yeah,
I thought about it. I actually like 650 something. I'm like I was starting to think about it. I'm like, I should go to 21. And I'm like, no. I'll wait because it's I still got like 9 slots left.
Yes.
And I got $85 for the year. I'm like, I don't want to go too crazy. Gables has only got like 5 slots left, and he's got $50 left.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then I went to go do it, and then I just missed the fucking deadline because it's like 7:00 my time on Saturdays when they cut off the bidding, and then Gables won it.
Now it's coming up to the thing where it's like, Tyler, it's like, you have 9 slots left. Are there going to be games that you're going to be able to fill those slots
I
with?
know, and that's the balancing act here, is where Gables has got 5 slots left, but he's only got $50 left. And like, I'm starting to wonder, like, if I've been like playing it a little too conservatively here with like, I drafted a bunch of games that were for sure, for the most part, going to happen this year, but maybe weren't going to be big points.
But it has played to your advantage too, because for you playing early like that, you've got like about 4 or 5 games that have performed especially well, including one I would say that you took a complete gamble on. I would think, and you got it good. And then I'll say this right now. me not taking Witch Queen, yeah, that was a mistake by me, but at the same time, leading up to that point, the ratings for those Destiny 2 expansions leading up to it suggested to me that that could have been like a 70s, 80s sort of game.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting it to be the best expansion rated out of,
I think it's rated higher than Destiny 2 base game is.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what I you know, like we've talked about, like where I drafted a lot because you can't drop the games you drafted, so I played it safe on those games. But I'm drafting games that had release dates or like beginning of the year, early 2022 release dates. And yeah, like I've definitely, like I would say I've performed higher than I thought I would on a lot of them. You know, like some of the ones I gambled on, like Gran Turismo 7, Pokemon Arceus, that worked out. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen.
Yes.
Nobody Saves the World did higher. Total Warhammer 3 did way higher. You know, like Rainbow Six Extraction was a miss, kind of like it got me 2 points. But I was expecting more. Dying Light 2 got me 6 points, which was
like those two. When I saw those two available, I'm like thinking to myself, it's like I don't want to draft those because I know those things are probably going to be either disappointing or duds. And I was right for Extraction, and I was surprised in regards to Dying Light 2 because I thought that was at least going to be in the 80s. The first game was in the 80s, I remember. Yeah,
and that's kind of what like I was expecting. Like I was like a lot of these games I drafted, I'm like these could be mid 7s to high 8s, and for the most part, honestly, it's worked out for me. Like, you know, like Horizon Forbidden West, I knew it was gonna do well. It's on 88 right now, so it's 18 points. Pokemon Legends Arceus, 84, 14 points, probably about what I expected. But Gran Turismo 7 at 88, I got 18 points for that one.
Yes,
way higher than I thought. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. At 89, I got 19 points.
Yes.
Blew it away. I was expecting, like, I really dropped it as a joke against Gables, and it blew me away. Sifu, I got 80 on. I got 10. Nobody Saves the World, I got 10 points on. Total Warhammer 3, I got 17 points on. So,
yes.
You know, like I said, I've swung a miss on Rainbow Six Extraction, getting 2 points, and Dying Light 2 getting 6 points. But overall, I would say strategies worked out.
Yeah, your strategies worked out, and guess what? You still have games that you could still get this month in regards to, like, in terms of ratings, like the show, the WWE game, and stuff. I mean, you still got
I have
a couple
it right
more
here.
Things.
Yeah, like WWE 2K22 comes out on Friday. I drafted that one. Or I didn't draft it. I bid $2 on it.
That one.
Yeah, I got that for $2, and that's kind of like it's a minimal. It could be. I'm gonna get points on it, but how many points? Gables has got on the 16th, got Tunic, and then on the 25th, Gables has got Ghostwire Tokyo, and I got Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And then also on the 25th, I have Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So we got 4 more games this month. And I don't expect any of those to be big bangers. I think Tunic and Kirby, man, really even Ghostwire Tokyo. Like those 3 games, I all 4 of those games, like that's what you look at the rest of the month. It's like those games could be, I think at worst they're mid 7s. W2K22 could be a low 7, but it could be a mid 8.
Yeah, you bring up great points in that regards. You know, that's what I thought too. You know, with WWE 2K and stuff, and the MLB The Show, I think those things are going to be like at least mid 70s, early 80s at most. But I feel like that Tunic is going to be like one of those surprise things on the Xbox Game Pass and stuff when that launches. That's part of the reason why I went through and drafted it like I did during the rounds, because even looking at some of the gameplay at its previews and stuff coming up, it has that feeling of being a good quality game, but yet we only saw little minuscule things from it, but the aspect of it really impressed me for what I saw. So it's like, Ghostwire Tokyo, I saw that developer thing like a few weeks ago and stuff, watched it and stuff, and I'm liking the aspect of it. It kind of like, I do like the aspects of the gameplay, I do like the aspects of the stuff. I do expect this game to be at least the mid-80s. That's what I initially thought.
I'm all over all these games, like Kirby, I feel like could be a big hit. I feel all 4 of those games could be huge surprises, but also huge letdowns, like as far as like...
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But right now I'm up 114 to 78, but I have 9 games out. Gables has 5 games out so far. But like Elden Ring, he's got 32 points for that one. Triangle Strategy, he's got 12. Windjammer's got 7. King of Fighters, 15, 11. Mario Kart, he bid on. He drafted Mario Kart 9. That didn't happen, obviously.
That's the only miss so far.
Yeah, and all the other world he got 15 on. So he's only got 5 games, really, well, 6 games if you include the Mario Kart 9 not happening. But he's already got 78 points. So on average, his games were scoring higher than mine. But he's got we'll talk about more as the year goes on. But he's got a lot of big hitters coming out this year if they hit. So he took some gambles, but if they hit, he'll win easily. But moving on, Gables here to what we've been playing this week. I'll go real fast.
You got it.
So I ended up beating today Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, you beat it. Nice.
Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time because I spent enough time on it the last 2 weeks. But ended up really loving it. Very happy with that game. What it hit my expectations and more so. I loved the building on the combat and everything like that. I have my same complaints I had last week where I don't love the upgrading feature of how deep it gets and we have to do to upgrade your individual weapons and outfits, stuff like that. It just adds way more grinding to sometimes, and some luck to it because sometimes you gotta get certain when you kill an enemy or kill a certain animal or whatever. It's kind of luck of the draw if you can get those items from them. But yeah, I had these are minuscule complaints. Took me 43 hours. I was at level 43 actually, so worked out there.
1 hour.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. The level cap is 50, so I got pretty close to getting that level cap. I had a blast with the game.
Does it have New Game Plus?
I don't think they do. Typically with PlayStation games, they add New Game Plus a couple months later. They never launch with it for some odd reason.
Because I think the original game had something like that.
It does. I did New Game Plus in January, but the New Game Plus wasn't available at launch.
Okay.
Even God of War and stuff like that, they added it 3-4 months. So I imagine in a few months down the line they'll add something. But yeah, I had a fucking blast with this game. It's fantastic. It's fucking March 5th right now, but it's my game of the year. I've only really played 2 games this year, but I've talked about it before where if there's another Pokemon Legends Arceus in this, if there's enough games that can knock this on my top 5, I'll be shocked. Or this will be one of the greatest. This will be one of the best years ever if these 2 games, at least one of these 2 games, don't land in my top 5. If not, I don't know if anything could combat God of War. Unless is the only other thing I could think of that could potentially surpass this game as my game of the year. Looking at the list for the rest of the year, for what we know, obviously things can happen, but yeah, the game is absolutely stunning, absolutely incredible. I love the lore of the first one. I love the lore in this, and they take some big swings, some big chances in this game with the lore, and it could have very easily blown up in their face and could have fucked up this entire franchise.
Yep.
And they nailed it. I think they nailed it. I loved it. I love reading all the notes. I love finding out about the past. I love all the stupid shit about people like I've talked about like them worshiping stupid things, or they look at these people as gods basically, and they're the billionaires of our generation. They're just awful, terrible human beings. But yeah, it's just it's just funny. I love that stuff. But yeah, this game was absolutely incredible. I loved every minute of it. Yeah, I hope to God, I hope it'd be awesome. We had Frozen Wilds DLC come out at the end of I think 2017. I want to say that year it came out, and I loved it. I hope we get something else like that, some more DLC or something later, maybe next year or something like that, because I'd love to have some more content to play. I did all the big story missions, all the big story, all the big side mission ones, the bigger ones. You can usually tell which ones are more important than the basic generic side missions. And those were awesome too. So yeah, the game's incredible. But Gables is another game that we both played that we have in common. Mm-hmm. You and I both played the Kirby demo. So yes, I do want to, before we jump into Elden Ring for you, I do want to talk about that. So Gables, I did the first 2 levels. I don't know. I think there's only 3 levels in it.
Oh, you done the first 2? Okay.
Yeah. What'd you do?
Well, here's the thing. I did go through and I did finish up the entirety of the demo stuff. So I played through all 3 stages. There's 3
Is it
stages.
3?
There's
Okay.
2 explorable ones and then 1 boss battle one. And I did it
Gotcha.
all on going all out in terms of their wild mode, which
I
quintessentially
did
is
the
their
same
normal
thing.
mode. It's
Yes.
normal mode.
Yeah, I love the
So
fact that they had that. They had like they have like the exploration mode or whatever it is. Where like there's the easy one and there's the normal mode. So go on.
I'm initially very positive in regards to what I've played so far. Granted, yes, it's the same type of like Kirby kind of look and feel in regards to not only just the difficulty, but also in terms of the exploration mindset. Because even in the past couple of Kirby entries, you search a level for like a couple different types of items and different types of like stuff to collect in that stage, and then that would be it for that stage. In terms of the couple levels that we that I did end up going through and playing the demo, there was one where you get to collect like tulips, red tulips. I ended up doing that plus multiple other things. I basically 100% of both of those levels.
Okay.
But the aspect of it is I love the use in regards to Car Kirby, the mouthful mode stuff, with Car Kirby. And what's kind of hilarious about it is this, I'm just bullshitting around, just like going through the levels, like taking out a couple of like freaking enemies with the car, just like rushing through, breaking rocks, doing this shit and that shit. And then like the second level especially when you get to infiltrate like a soda machine and then like finding that you could just break certain terrains and stuff around the level
Be
and
the
then
cone.
be the cone and stuff and just breaking through the ground, breaking through pipes and stuff. I love the intricate way that it did in the second level to where you use that, you would go around this one particular like boss that was like had a couple different platforms on its back, and then you have to lead its head towards the pipe that you needed to go for so we could latch onto it. Because in doing so, it actually went through and breaks the pipe further for you to actually do a cone smash on that damn thing. And then you get up to the earlier level and stuff, and then you just finish it off from like jumping from a high platform all the way down. I like that. The boss battle I thought was pretty cool too, because it wasn't anything like groundbreaking, but the way that this boss played, it didn't play like a typical Kirby boss. Whereas it felt more like a boss from a oh god, I'm trying to think about it for a moment right here, because it had like a giant enemy bar on the bottom of it, and while I was going through, I couldn't help but like think that, oh, you know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of like kind of like a Dark Souls shit. There's the enemy bar and how it just dwindles away for like everything. Obviously not as intense as say like a Dark Souls style game, but that enemy bar dripping away and stuff with all sorts of like random attacks against it. I decided to go into the battle with Bomb Kirby, that whole aspect to where you just toss bombs or roll it at the enemy itself. See, the boss in general, you face off against this giant gorilla, and what he does is like he'll throw boulders at you. He'll do like a little thing. We'll try to sweep the ground and stuff. And if you get too close to him or something like that, he'll try to sweep the ground and try to just grab you and try to do all sorts of various little damage. I think I got hit like once throughout that entire boss battle, but towards like the middle part of it, he'll go towards like another type of attack pattern where he'll actually do a complete spin, which kind of looks like a Donkey Kong kind of like airplane spin with his fists all out and stuff, his arms just twirling or something like that. But it was pretty damn fun going through and playing that boss battle. Going through it, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't overly like as complicated as it needed to be, but it was fun. It was fun going through the process of spamming a whole bunch of my different attacks, evading his like big old elaborate choreographed attack moves and stuff, and doing that stuff. And I left that demo feeling fairly positive. And if you do finish that demo, Tyler and stuff, there's like 2 codes you could use for the main game if you choose to. But you get some little added little goodies or something when you go into like the Waddle Dee town and this and that. But it's definitely has my interest in regards to wanting to play a bit more of it, because this is pretty beefy for what I thought that initially was going to. Because quintessentially, it's a 3D platform version of the Kirby games we know and like, but it's presented in another way, and it has a lot more creativity in terms of what the powers that Kirby inherits and stuff can use in order to advance certain levels. Plus, I kind of like the idea of like facing off against some of the boss enemies. If it was like, if it's anything like the first boss enemy inside the first world and stuff like that, I'm interested in seeing what they'll go and evolve into. It's like, okay, how are we going to do the Waddle Dee? I mean, how are you going to do like the DDD battle? How are you going to do the battle against Meta Knight? Because they showcase both of those guys inside the trailers towards the end of that demo. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, is Krakow, that big old giant cloud and stuff that has like that shoots lightning and stuff that spikes around it, is that going to be in the game? You know, or are there going to be other classic Kirby bosses? You know, in a new style? I mean, that's one thing I was thinking about. But another, I had a lot of funny thoughts in regards to this game, because when you look at the game when you're first entering it, it looks an awful lot like Seattle. And what's kind of hilarious about it, it looks like a post-apocalyptic version of Seattle. And I kept on thinking The Last of Us Part 2, and as soon as I look into the things, like, oh, this is a cheery version of The Last of Us Part 2. And it's like, I just started laughing, like, oh my god, dude. It's like, I'm just imagining like Kirby, and then all of a sudden the mood music hits. There's just a bunch of clickers rushing the screen. But Tyler, just tell me a little bit about your thoughts about this demo.
Yeah. So I wanted to actually, I was beating it, but then like we had tornadoes come nearby, so I kind of paused it to make sure I wasn't gonna die.
That's important.
Obviously I didn't die. So yeah, like the sirens came, I got like alerts. I'm like, I should probably look at that and see what the fuck's going on. And I was like, oh wow, it's real close. And luckily it missed us. But hopefully everybody's okay. That I haven't heard any updates on anything, but hopefully everybody's okay where it did hit. But go back to Kirby here. Yeah, the first two levels I enjoyed it. It was it's the first two levels, so obviously it's gonna be pretty easy, pretty bland as far as like you're not gonna have like a lot of like
right.
You don't have to worry about dying and like that. Like, I got hit a couple times, but I never like was in any danger or anything like that. I do like the fact there's a wild mode and there's like the easy mode where you got more health. Yeah, I enjoyed going through it. It's definitely was like I got real used to the controls real fast. Of like as far as like when I hit jump, I gotta like kind of hit B to like the float back down because otherwise I'll keep floating. Obviously like I've talked about like recently where I haven't really played any Kirby games. Like I played like one of the ones on I think on Wii, and then I played like one of the ones on Super Nintendo a long time ago. That's kind of what I know of Kirby. So yeah, like I definitely enjoyed what I played so far. Like I've talked about, like my big concern is like this is the same team that made like the Yoshi games, and like especially like Crafted World. I was incredibly boring. The one on Wii U, I enjoyed it quite a lot, and I talked about it was a pretty fun game. But then like the one Crafted World that came out in 2019 was just like, I think I did like the first 4 worlds. And I'm like, I'm just walking through trying to get collectibles. I'm like, there's no challenge here. I'm not having any fun. That's my big concern here is like the Kirby games. I take that back. I did play the Kirby one that came out, Star Allies. I did play that one, and it was just more of the. It was kind of like the Yoshi Crafted World. It was like, this is just incredibly boring. It's just it's like a baby's first platformer. You know, like this is like the game you give your kid before he plays Mario, kind of stuff.
True.
And I feel like if it comes out and it's like that and people love it, that's fine. But like my thing is like I want more than that, you know. Like the 3D aspect of it has got me more interested in this one. They definitely kind of want to give you some more like some Odyssey vibes in this game, and like it's definitely worked on me. Like I'm way more interested in it now. But yeah, like what I played the first 2 levels, like I definitely enjoyed like going through, like finding trying to find all the flowers that you talked about. I was like, we're like going a couple of them, like looking really hard. I'm like, this is the demo. Like, what am I trying to 100% the demo? So like, I stopped doing that. I'm like, I just want to like go through and I want to see if I enjoy this game. Cause like, that is not something I'm going to invest a lot of time in, is trying to like 100% levels. But yeah, like I definitely enjoyed the combat. I enjoyed like the puzzles element of it. The combat is actually pretty fun, like taking over and like being like the sword guy and stuff like that. And then, having like put in those little square areas where you had to fight enemies was a lot of fun. So yeah, so far I'm definitely enjoying it. Like I am more optimistic than I was beforehand. Like this is a game, like if it comes out, people are saying it sounds like what I want it to be. I'm like, I got a pre-order that's paid off. If it comes out and if people are saying what I'm hoping it can be, or what I want it to be. This will be a day one pickup if it sounds like. I'm still gonna want to wait and see what people say when they get further on. Like people have like previews came out and it was like the preview was basically the same thing as like the demo,
Right.
But people have been pretty positive about it, and yeah, I can't wait to. I'm gonna do the boss fight probably tomorrow, and then yeah, well I'll wait to see. We'll probably get some reviews. So what the game comes out on Friday, probably get reviews on the 23rd, so Wednesday. And I can't wait to hear what people say about it. So, yeah, that's the only thing I've been playing, Gables. Tell me about Elden Ring.
All right, before I tell you about Elden Ring, I want to tie up a loose end. I did end up beating Splatoon 2.
Oh, okay.
Like a day after I think we got done recording for the Pokemon stuff. I went through because I wanted to go in with a clean slate before I get into Elden Ring, because I wanted to finish up the last loose end, which was finishing up Splatoon 2, and I'm happy to report I got all of the Sardiniums and all of the pages in regards, so I completely 100%ed those aspects of it. Looking at one of the prerequisites in sort of each stages, because I kept noticing that there was little indentations when you finish a level with each weapon. Well, the thing about that, what I ended up finding out, was there was just a bunch of different type of character skins you could use in multiplayer. Say if you complete like entirety of the game like with one weapon and stuff, and then it'll just give you that to use in multiplayer aspects of it. And I thought to myself, it's like, yeah, that they are replayable. I can go forth and do that, but at the same time, I'm not going to really go and delve into the multiplayer aspect of it a lot, especially with the third game releasing this year. Had this been in 2017 or 2018, yeah, I would have done that, because, hell, that game is fun. I think that Splatoon 2 is a great game for what it sets out to be. There are fun aspects of the multiplayer. I loved doing the regular battle stuff. I didn't touch any of the competitive stuff. But the single-player aspect, I enjoyed the bosses a lot. Bosses 2 and, bosses 1, 2, and, what was it, 4... were interesting, in my honest opinion. I mean, the third one was kind of like a retread and stuff of one of the first bosses inside the original Splatoon. But I like the aspects of the creativity in each of the levels. I did like a lot of the various stuff with it. And it was fun enough to me to replay a lot of different levels over and over again. And I found myself exploring every little nook and cranny and stuff, which took me about 15, 20 minutes sometimes per level. Because I was relatively curious about just going and doing whatever the hell it was, just to try to, okay, this is how I was supposed to do this one, or this is how I'm supposed to do that one, And then I finally went towards the final battle against, I think it was DJ Octavio or something like that, DJ Octo, whatever the hell and stuff, had put one of the Squid Sisters under his control and stuff, and just basically doing that 2-part boss battle and stuff, which was very fun. I love that aspect of it, But at that time, I felt like the game wrapped up to a good extent. I got that out of the way. I'm fairly happy that I decided just to dive into Splatoon 2. It was just an itch that I wanted to go forward and scratch that itch. Got the game. Fantastic game. Can't wait for Splatoon 3. I am all in on that game once it does release, because I'm not interested in it now. But going from that to the meat and potatoes of what I've been playing, and that's Elden Ring. As a recording, throughout this week, I have put 16 hours into Elden Ring.
Jesus.
16 hours. A couple of which I've done in terms of farming, but in terms of experiences and stories, let's just say this game has gotten me all sorts of various fun predicaments that I never even was anticipated. Okay, so starting out, I decided to go with a specific character class, right? So I checked, and at the time there was 3 to choose from. I didn't realize until after I created my character and was hours in that I had an option of one of 6 different character classes, and I only went with the warrior option in regards to the character class. So I was looking at the first 3 of 6. I could have went as a samurai aspect, or I could have went as a mage or whatever. I decided to go with warrior. Why? Is because it dual wields weapons. You dual wield scimitars. You have the highest dexterity of any other class, and dexterity is helpful when you have to be very speedy, and also when you have the terms of cut the times in regards to like executing magic spells and whichever, like attacks and whatsoever, plus your stamina. You'll have more stamina in regards if you build up endurance alongside of that. So commenting a high endurance alongside dexterity and like vitality and stuff, it's definitely a good aspect, a good base for a build for a warrior class, from what I've understood. I went into this, I got through the first area, I died a number of times in the first presentable boss. And that's just the thing about this game that you have to learn just to deal with, is that, yeah, you'll die over and over in regards to this game in specific spots. It'll appeal to some gamers, and then other gamers they won't try, because if you lose like a bunch of souls at the first time or something, you're probably not ever going to try it again. But the thing about it is, this is the first legitimate like Dark Souls like game made from Software, which is completely an open world. In other previous From Software games, you explore specific regions inside of an area. And then you face off against the big boss in that one, and then all of a sudden you move on to the next area, and so on and so forth. Because the game is a completely open world, you get to explore anywhere in this area to your heart's content. You'll find things called Lost Graces, which are the game's equivalent of a campfire. So once you unlock those, they're permanently unlocked in your map, so you'll know when to travel to and from. I like the aspect that this game has quick travel, or fast travel, because getting to those specific spots like that without having to go and ride a whole across the map, that's fairly nice. A couple things I did do. I did end up investing a lot in terms of learning how to unlock, how to level up, because you have to be at a specific point. It doesn't really give you a clear aspect of when this thing will unlock, but there's this one campfire by one of the first main areas before going into the first main castle, where you come into this, you meet this one particular female NPC character. She'll introduce herself and stuff, and she'll be that, she volunteers to be your maiden, quintessentially. Like this, because they refer in-game the NPC characters as, you are the maidenless one, like someone that's supposed to support you, and then this and that, in terms of a spiritual sense or something of that shit. That's what I'm understanding anyway. But she's like, yeah, I'll help you out and this and that, and then she introduces you okay, you can level up your character through her, and then later on and stuff, once you unlock more of the Lost Graces, you're transferred to this you can transfer into this other area and stuff, where this is the main central hub of where you're supposed to be in regards to not only strengthening your weapons, but also buying magic spells in terms of equipping specific things. It's basically that whole point before you go and launch yourself into back in the overworld and stuff and try out what you're doing. So that's the short version of it. But I initially came across some problems with my character early on, because even though I had a high dexterity speed and stuff, I was still getting one-shotted by a lot of different things. I didn't really officially die until oh gosh, it wasn't even about 20 minutes in before I got my first death, because the first major boss past the tutorial level is where you have to try to fight this guy. It's like a soldier, right? This high class of soldier. You had to go through, beat him, do this and that, and which I did. And then when I first got into the overworld, I unlocked a couple different Lost Graces. Obviously, there was this one church called Ida, or something like that, Ida. You have a merchant there. I bought some little bits of key items and stuff that I needed, like a craft kit and this and that. And from there, I'm okay, I'm at level. I'm not really high in terms of a level, and this is before I end up unlocking the leveling up stuff. So once I leveled up quite a bit and stuff like that, I saw this giant walking across this field. Now the giant is the thing that's blocking the ocean by the shore, and so I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've leveled up to about 15 at this point. Why don't I go forth and try to take on this giant? The funniest part about this and stuff is I saw a video of someone taking on the same giant, right? And it's he had a couple of different types of attacks. So I go in, I anticipate a couple of these different types of attacks. You know, he does a stomping move, you get too close, or he'll try to go and just swing at you. And I was dodging pretty effortlessly and this and that. No, it wasn't until he took his giant sword off of his back and stuff, it just drug it on the ground, and then I'm coming right towards me, and then I'm like, oh shit, I better dodge this. So I dodge, I try to whittle down his HP, you know, whittle down his health, and I was doing a good job in doing that. At that same point, I was getting close, like, towards the end of my health, and I had to go forth and try to run away, try to cause some distance. This dude had more attacks up his sleeve. If you are within, like, say, 20 feet of him, if you're just trying to, like, bait him and to try to do something, he'll do a shout attack that goes clear across, right? And not only that, you know how certain, like, enemy characters, they have a specific range before, like, they stop completely and let you go, blah, 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 and so on and so forth? Yeah, enemies in this game don't do that. Not at all. As a matter of fact, some of them will follow you to the ends of the earth. This giant, I kid you not, he came up to a cliff, the same cliff that I had gone down to, and I looked back, and he's still watching me, mind you, and all of a sudden, he starts stepping down the cliff. He just starts going through. It's that one element of, like, this one more thing where you don't expect him to, you don't expect an enemy to do that, and all of a sudden they do that, and you're like, oh shit, I better go. And the thing about it is, I saved a little clip in regards to the PlayStation stuff, because I finally took down this giant, right? And it gave me a good sizable chunk of HP. But that was one epic moment. And after taking down my first giant and feeling that sense of accomplishment, I wanted to go and explore a little bit more and see what else I can do. The number one thing I try to take care of, right, is I wanted to level up. I want to get this character stronger. I looked onto YouTube. Okay, I've been hearing about these farming methods, so which one is, like, what would I do right here that's, like, more fitting for me? So that's where I came across a YouTube video and stuff that transferred me to the specific area that's called Lena's Rise. It's in this particular area in regards to the whole, like, Greyall Dragon Barrow. That's the area that it's called. It's to the east of, like, the main area that you start in. And, there's a couple different things you gotta really do before you set off to this grinding spot, but the basic thing is you come across, you basically go from this area called, like, this Temple Magica, right? At that, this area, and then behind that church, there's, like, this little portal point, right? And so I go through the portal, it transforms me to that Dragon Burrow place. The thing about this is, like, when you transfer to it, it gets you, like, face to face with a boss that's, like, right inside this door and stuff. And you could go in that way, or you could just turn around the opposite direction, which you're supposed to do, and go a different other way. And you eventually will come across a Lost Grace, which will get you to this, which will lead you to the front where this bridge is at. And on top of that bridge is a dragon, a large-ass dragon, like you saw inside of, like, some of the gameplay videos. And I look at that, it's like, okay, I locked the campfire, but there's two bridges, right? There's the one with the dragon on it, and then there's another one that's, like, you go over and around, and there's one, like, underneath it. And so I go through that, and I realize I'm going through this field, and I'm getting poison damage. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm getting poison damage, I better kind of take it slow right there. And sure enough, it starts whittling down in regards to the whole thing. In this game, when you build up specific things, like, say, your poison meter or your, like, this bloodletting meter or red rust meter and stuff, if it completely charges up, you get that ailment. And it'll take some time unless you get to a Lost Grace in order to erase this ailment. So we get to the other campfire by Lena's Rise. I go over to this initial, like, grind spot, and the thing is, there's this enemy, right? It's a giant boulder. And so it spawns behind you, and your core aspect that you have to remember is you have to let this thing follow you to some extent, but you have to dodge it so it'll roll off a cliff and die. The thing about it, it rewards you with about 1952 runes during the night, if it is specially charged, because each enemy has a particular chance, if it's during the night, that they'll either will grow, well, actually will glow, and it'll get you more runes as a result when you kill them. So, going through and deciding upon myself, you know what, I want to grind at this spot. I want to see how much runes I'm going to collect. I ended up going that first night, and I collected about over 400,000 runes just from this method alone. It took me about a good solid like couple of hours, give or take. I think it was like on Sunday, like Saturday or Sunday of last week, which I went and I got so many of these runes, and I went from like level 15 to like level 79 in it just these few hours, because I wanted to at least get my vitality and endurance to 20, which I did, and then get my dexterity all the way pumped up to about 60. So I got that out of the way. I'm currently at level 80 still.
What's the level cap?
The level cap, I'm not sure. It's definitely not 100, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay. Because I heard people talk about their levels. I'm like, God damn, that's high. I assume 100 was the level cap.
No, 100 is not the level cap. If 100 was the level cap, Tyler, I think I would have been sweeping and killing things in one shot at that point. But going on, after I did that grinding, I found out that there's a boss that appears on the bridge that I'm near at night. The one I just crossed over with the poison fields and stuff. So, being around level 79, I was like, okay, this is Black Knight on the horse. I'm going to go forth and I'm going to try to battle this thing. So, I take a swipe at it, I hit it. It hits me, one shot. I'm dead. Jeez. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is pretty high level. But I have an idea. So, what I did is I had this knight chase me through the poison fields, right? I died the first time, right? But I try again. And I had the idea, poison damage. Let's see what happens if I can get this guy poisoned and whittle down his health. So it took me a little bit, but I killed my first boss in this game through poison chip damage. And I got about 40,000 runes as a result from that one boss. I got an Ashes of War, I think it is. And I gone through that. I have gone through like the first major enemy in the first area that... oh my gosh, I'm just kind of blanking his name right now. But he's the guy they call the Fell Omen, stuff like that, before you go into the first main castle and stuff. Margit, that's his name. That's the thing, Margit the Fell Omen. That battle was interesting too, because I go through a couple of different ways where I try to do it myself, like just without using any type of summons and stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm at a high enough level. Let's see if I can go for it and at least whittle him down. I was doing fairly good, and there was like one time before he ended up killing me, which I got him back to about a quarter health. And that's where I'm thinking, I'm going to try something. And so I go forth and I use the summon with the wolves. And the wolves distract him enough to where I can go behind him, start slashing the shit out of him. Like, go use a couple flasks if I need to in order to restore health. I end up taking him down, and I'm doing, like, well in that regards. And what's kind of hilarious is, after that I start exploring a castle, right? And I'm taking out the guards and stuff, and I see there's this one room to the right of me, right? The door's open, and there's, like, a item that's, like, in the far end. This is this dark room. And what happens after I enter the room is probably one of the more memorable moments I think I've had in this game so far. The door closes behind me. It's pitch black, and all of a sudden I hear a deep-throated, like, laugh, like a cackle, like, oh, I got you. And there was a knight hidden in the corner right in this dark room, and he fucking destroyed me as I didn't even have enough time to go forth and react, because in this room, it's crowded with all sorts of various, like, breakable shit. So, you think that you're going to have the flexibility in order to try to dodge this dude's attack? No. I didn't even have time to go forth and correctly lock on to him to try to at least attempt to try to take him out. I tried this 3 or 4 times because this dude's a son of a bitch, and I'm going to take him out after that shit. But, No, I ended up going through and not doing that. Instead, I focused upon getting a couple of main items that I wanted to do. Because what I've done during this whole 16 hours is I leveled up my character to about level 80. I've now figured out how to use like Ashes of War to equip on my weapons, because there was a combination of things. I needed a particular weapon to allow me to duplicate Ashes of War. I needed like something in particular to not only get a specific Ashes of War for my dual scimitars, which that's the thing. I have to duplicate this one into two just to equip all my two weapons, because I'm using two weapons. That means I got to use double the resources in order to try to improve them. So I'm using smithing stones and this and that. So now I have a character that will do bleed damage, right? Bleed's super broken in this, where it's like, if you build up the meter on a boss after about 3 or 4 hits, it'll start doing massive damage to an enemy. And so now I got this ability to where I got these double Ashes of War, like Bleeding Slash, on top of other things and stuff, and not even counting other secrets I'm not really going to go forth and describe right now, because it's already, there's still a bunch of things I'm still learning about this game, and there's still a bunch of interesting stuff I still haven't gone through and explored yet. And there's so many different fucking weird-ass creatures that you'll encounter in the world. Like, I was mentioning to you before we started recording, I encountered a hawk, like a giant-ass hawk, that had dual fucking swords or something for talons. That was just doing slash attacks. And there's, like, a group of them, like, inside the top of a castle perched up that kept on trying to attack me with, like, fucking dual fucking swords doing spinny slash attacks and all this other shit. And not to mention the giant rats, not to mention the freaking trolls, the giant-ass trolls and stuff, and the monster fucking berserk like bears in the damn forest. This is like out of a fucking fractured fairy tale, but like a grim fairy tale, dude. But the game has me wanting to play it more, not only to explore, but to encounter what other type of grotesque piece of bullshit's gonna happen next. And even though I keep dying over and over again, this is like one of the first Souls games I've actually played where I want to keep on exploring and keep on playing it, because it is that fun, and there's so much things you can do to abuse this game that it makes you want to go forth and play more of it. So that's my first overall impressions after a week of playing Elden Ring, and I have to admit, this is something I've only encountered a few times in games I've ever played, where last year, Ninja Gaiden, I played that over and over again, kept dying and stuff, but I'm getting that same sense of satisfaction I used to get when I used to beat and used to play through old games and do that stuff, only on a bigger scale than this. This is like king level of bullshit that I have to try to overcome in order to try to get close to stuff, and I'm not even past like the first main epic boss in this game, and I'm still doing a bunch of shit. So yeah, that's Elden Ring so far.
All right, good, man. Glad you're liking it.
Yes.
You're still a cunt though for drafting it. But anyways.
One last thing though, and I think this is kind of funny. When I went and I got that game from Walmart, the PS5 version of it, I told the electronics guy, it's like, yeah, watch, this thing's going to be sold out like in the span of a week. And what's hilarious about it, as soon as it came back a couple days later, all the copies of that game was gone, and Horizon Forbidden West was completely stocked.
Well, because they know that people are actually going to buy Horizon, unlike Elden Ring. Anyways, moving on. That'll actually be the end of the podcast. Fuck Elden Ring and fuck Gables for drafting that game. But if you guys like the show, please follow, subscribe everywhere, wherever pods are cast. We're on it. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, wherever we're on it. Please follow, subscribe, share, please. And yeah, I'll wrap it up. I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, play some fun games. Definitely enjoy yourself during these trying times. But thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.